today's class, we're looking at chemistry simplified. And if you look at the equations we have on the board, you will see a half-cell redox reaction questions. And then we want to concentrate on how to balance half-cell redox reaction question, because the half-cell redox reaction equation is different from the regular and the normal equations that you know. The redox or the half-cell chemical equation requires you to balance the atoms, you balance the elements, you balance the ions, you balance all the particles therein. If you look at these equations, which we're going to dive in, you will find out that I have aluminium, which is 1 over here, and aluminium is also 1 over here. I have copper, which is 1 here. Copper is 1 here, which means that if it is a normal reaction, we could say it's balanced. But in redox reaction, it is required that the ions will be balanced. And you notice that the problem with these questions is the ions. Now, there are steps involved in balancing redox reaction. The first step is that you divide the equations into 2 halves, and then the second step is that you're going to make sure that the atoms of elements in those divided equations, they are balanced, and the ions also are balanced. Then number 3, you equalize the equation, and then number 4, you add up the equation. Now, without much further ado, we want to go into the equation, to the balancing of equation properly. Now, there are methods used in balancing redox equation, and the method that is used, or sometimes redox equation is balanced in different solutions. We call it solutions. You can balance under a neutral solution. You can balance under an acidic solution. You can balance under a basic solution. Now, if you balance under the acidic solution, you need to add hydrogen and Mr. Water. And then if you're balancing under basic solution, you need to add hydroxyl and Mr. Water. Now, having done that, you now see that hydrogen is not going to help us to identify the acid, and then the hydroxyl for the base. But the prerogative for today's class is we're going to be using the neutral solution, and that is what we're going to be doing in today's class. And in our other class, in a subsequent class, we'll be going to acidic solution, we'll be going to basic solution. For students to gain a maximum understanding of these equations, of this class, you need to follow it step by step. That's why we divided and we break the class into these steps. So today we'll focus on these questions, and the prerogative of today's class is neutral solution. So let's get to the business. And then we have the question. This is a neutral solution. Let's solve this problem under a neutral solution. Then we have the problem. The problem is aluminium plus copper gives me aluminium plus 3 plus copper. Now, the first step is that you divide the equation into 2 halves. We pick up the aluminium. Aluminium gives aluminium plus 3 charge. You see, aluminium gives aluminium plus 3 charge. And then we're going to look out for what I'm going to do to make sure that the ions are balanced. The only thing to do here is that if I add 2 electrons to this side, notice that if I add 3 electrons, to this side, notice that these 3 electrons will now cancel the ion that is here, and then it is balanced. And then we'll go to the copper. Copper plus 2 gives copper. Now, what will I do to balance out the charge? If I add a 2 electrons here, you see, it is now balanced. But that's not all. Now, what you need to do is that we need to equalize this equation. How do we equalize this equation? We need to eliminate these electrons. And how do we eliminate them? We'll find the LCM. The LCM between 3 and 2. And the LCM between 3 and 2 is simply gotten by multiplying equation 1 and equation 2. Let's call this equation 1. Let's call this equation 2. if you multiply out, you'll find out that it is 6. Now what I'm going to do is that I multiply here by 2, multiply here by 3. So that 2 times 1 aluminium, that is 2 aluminium, is going to give me 2 times this aluminium will give me 2 aluminium plus 3. 2 times this guy is going to give me 6 of those, 6 electron. Let's call this equation 3. And then I'm going to multiply 3 times this guy will give me 3 of those. 3 times 2, that is 6 of those electrons. 3 times 1, that is 3 of copper. And then that will be equation 4. Now, you add up the equation. If you add up this equation, you notice that electron will cancel electron. Now, we are going to write out what we have on the right hand side. We write out what we have on the left hand side. Now, what do I have on the right hand side? I have 2 aluminium and then plus 3 copper plus 2 charge gives me 2 aluminium plus 3 over there plus 3 copper. Now let's check whether the equation is balanced. I have 2 aluminum here, 2 aluminum here. You see that? I have 3 copper here, 3 copper here. You see that? Now I have the charge. This is plus 2, this is plus 3. But 3 times 2, is it not 6? Now 2 times 3, is it not 6? You notice that what we are doing here is that the ions, the atoms, the particles, the elements, everything is balanced. Now you can pause the video and try out the next question. But without further ado, let's go to the question immediately. Now, I perceive you have known the first step. What is the first step? Divide the question into 2 halves. Zinc gives me zinc plus 2. If I just add 2 electrons, is out. Equation 1. And then nickel plus 2 gives nickel. Equation 2. Now, if I add 2 electrons, it is out. You see that now? That is to tell you that there is no much work to be done here because the electron has already cancelled out. And then you are going to cancel out here, so that I'll write what I have here. Zinc plus nickel plus 2 gives me zinc plus 2 plus nickel. Now, check out. We have 1 zinc, 1 nickel, 1 nickel, plus 2 charge, plus 2 charge. You can see that the elements, the ions, the particles, the charges are balanced. Now let's move to the last one. In this last one, we have aluminium plus nickel, which gives me aluminium plus 3 plus nickel. Now, what do I do here? What I'm going to do here is we have aluminium gives an aluminium plus 3. You see that? Aluminium gives an aluminium plus 3. And then if I add 3 electrons here, okay, let's call this equation 1. And then nickel plus 2 gives nickel. If I add 2 electrons here, you see, we call this equation 2. It will balance out. I hope you're following the steps. Now, what we're going to do is that you can pause the video and solve. Now, what we're going to do is the LCM between these 2 equations. What's the LCM between this equation? Now, I'm multiplying this one by 2. I'm multiplying this one by 3. 2 times 1, that is 2 aluminium. You see that? Gives me 2 aluminium plus 3 and plus 6 electron. Equation 3. Now, this will become 3 nickel plus 2, 6 electron, and it gives me 3 nickel. Now, this is equation 4. Now, notice that the electrons, they are going to cancel. And then you write out what you have on the left side. Write out what you have on the left side. So what I'm going to have for this equation will be the same 2 aluminium plus, let me use my red ink now, 3 nickel plus 2 gives me 2 aluminium plus 3 plus 3 nickel. Now let's check whether it's balanced. We have 2 aluminium here, 2 aluminium here, 3 nickel here, 3 nickel here. The charges now, 3 times 2, 6, 2 times 3, 6. Now, this is what we mean by balancing redox equation under neutral solution. I think I noticed something. Wait, this thing's supposed to be nickel, not sodium. This is supposed to be nickel, not sodium. So, this is supposed to be nickel, not sodium from the equation. If you have made it to this point in this video, this is all we've got for you in neutral solution. In our next class, we'll be talking about acidic solution, and subsequently we'll be also talking about basic solution. And then we can give you an assignment to try out at home. You can try this out at home. Try this. Aluminium plus sodium gives me aluminium plus 3 plus sodium. You can try out this at home as an assignment for you. Now see you in our next class.